online. Hopefully, did the things I was supposed to. And you can do it. Nope, still says hosting.
Aha! There we go.
Woo!
Yay!
Yay! Awesome. And followers and things, so alerts are going through too. So welcome to the Twitch folk. We are doing Rise of Tiamat. We've just gotten our party back together. They had broken into two groups of 4 to 5 to pursue various tasks. We're now back together with about 8 of them that will be heading into the Misty Forest in pursuit of a dragon mask wearer and rumors of a green dragon. Also knowing that one of the party's long-lost / estranged fathers should be in and about the area, the mysterious sailor. And the party has been alerted that a cultist, having had a change of heart, is looking to turn over a dragon mask to them if they can reach them in time and save them from the area. Iskander is the turncoat. And he is offering the blue dragon mask if they can come save him from Zonthal's tower, which is a bit more south and east on the far side of the high moor from where they are right now. The party was a bit scattered. They've been brought back together through the use of some fast-traveling means, circles of teleportation, druidic tricks, and good old-fashioned fast horses. They're getting ready to depart from Daggerford and kind of catch each other up on the situation. A few reminders. The party has earned the enmity of the Cult of the Dragon, which includes being pursued by 3 young-ish dragons. One of them is a Draco Lich, so age doesn't really kick in. The other side of the party has earned the enmity of a blue dragon who they fought back in Greenest. However, that blue dragon was a bit further north, and they traveled very quickly very recently. But the 3 darker dragons may still be a concern.
Is the blue one still allergic to cats?
Blue one may still be allergic to cats. Or Leonthin. Leonthin? It's Leonthin. The blue dragon had some issues with certain tabaxi, but feels that he got his point across when he brought all manner of underground creatures to bear on the party not too long ago. So, setting out from Daggerford, heading to the east, you will pass through a small patch of the Misty Forest. You'll make your way up to Secomber and continue on to the other half of the Misty Forest known as the South Wood. Anything I should know about, anything you guys want to share with one another before we get started on that? Right now you are in the town of Daggerford, which is fairly metropolitan. It has a lot of good stuff in it, and the Duchess is fairly friendly to you.
Did Dawn in that group show up in his special carriage? Or did they go by means of other ways?
The carriages were arranged to be moved. It did take a little bit of doing in some higher magic forms, but all of your equipment has been gotten to you.
Okay. But he'll probably pick up materials to work on things as they travel through places.
Sounds good.
So we have 2 carriage now.
You guys are traveling in style.
I guess for reference for the other group, Dawn has many potions floating around now. There's a couple of fire and cold resistance, and many potions of healing, so they can be split about as needed.
Yeah, Valandra has already gotten everyone on our side of the divide, at least fire and lightning, I think. Acid. And she has some more with her too that she hasn't handed out yet.
Yeah, I still have them all on my sheet, but as needed we could
Sure.
split.
Yeah.
And he has a bunch of scrolls that he made, but he has a special bracer of scroll storing, and he
Mhm.
could just pop them out and use them as needed.
Absolutely. So, 2 carriages, easily able to accommodate. You have the horses to draw them as well. And I believe a few riding horses scattered about, so the travel should not be particularly onerous to you. You'll be traveling mostly on road along the way. But then once you reach the far side of the Misty Woods, you'll be getting into a more of an elven territory where they live pretty much in and amongst the trees. The carriages are not likely to pass, so you may be leaving those carriages behind at some point. Succumber is going to be the safest place, but that's only about halfway through the trip. You can pick up and decide where to stop from there. There are other smaller inns where you can leave them behind, but it sounds like you've got a lot of fairly valuable things in there, so you need to give that some thought as we travel. But in the meantime, as you are preparing to head out, one of the nobles comes to fetch you, and he makes a big show of how he's come down to, mingle with you and make a presence, make himself known. As I have information for you. One of the druids from the Misty Woods has stopped by and wishes to speak with you. If you have a moment, I'd be happy to arrange it.
All right.
Sweet. When and where and how?
Well, I was thinking you could do it at my home. I'd be happy to host such notable company on the dawning of your expedition. And this would probably be a good way to insert himself into any tales that happen to take place in the future. So, looks like he's probably trying to just hop onto your tailcoats for a little bit of fame and glory.
Well, that's not the worst thing.
I don't particularly mind that, so.
What's his name?
Sir Peter.
Got it.
Yep, just Peter.
Sir Peter.
Yep. And Sir Peter invites you to his house. It's a very nice estate. He just gets you all set up. And now, the gentleman you'll be meeting, Delan Winterhound. He's of the Emerald Enclave, the Druids. Elven. Very prestigious. A bit coarse, though, and not overly fond of some of the finer things. But, likable fellow, I'm told. And as he's talking, he leads you into, a fairly modest sitting room. Chairs are arranged, and just sort of standing there looking at something obviously ornate and a lot of work went into, but basically useless, is an elven man in leathers, very travel-worn, has that bit of dirt to him that never seems to go away. It's like, so many trees were burned for this. Then he turns to look back at you and, welcome. Thank you, Peter. It's very nice of you to have arranged all this. Now, you are The sovereignty. It's one of those human words.
The Sovereign Seven.
Ah.
Although she glances around, counting the people.
1, 2, 3, 6, 7.
Yes, that
Oh.
seems like how math works. My name is Delon Winterhound. I belong to the Emerald Enclave, and I come to speak to you on behalf of Prince Algarthus. We're concerned that the attacks that have taken place on the Misty Forest are not as done with as the king believes they are. King Melandrak is confident in his soldiers, but this seems more like a lull than a respect of the defensive that we've mustered. I understand you go to seek this dragon and perhaps defeat it?
That's the plan.
I mean,
So
if
far as there is a
everything
plan.
in life would be ideal, yes.
Well, it is my hope that on the way, I could ask you to stop by one of the smaller towns, habitations, one of the smaller settlements that my people have. It suffered an attack from the dragon, but unlike the others, only about half of the people were slain and taken. The other managed to fight it off. I'm hoping that you might gain some insight there. Unfortunately, the rest of my people are spread a bit thin. We don't know where the next attack will come from. I believe the dragon is in the woods to the east, but that's all we know.
Well, I
What's
mean,
what's
Well,
the
if it'll help us out, yeah, we'll stop by there. I don't see the harm in it.
The more information we have, the better off we'll be.
ditto.
Excellent. The village is called Altand. It's in the near of the forests. You can reach it fairly easy within a few days. I'd stopped by myself and spoken with Galen there. However, he, for all that he's done, has very little information on how they managed to stave off the attack. I think some good fortune or other protection there. But if you have any need of the Emerald Enclave, do seek us out.
It would be rude to ask if he's sure they weren't just working with the dragon somehow. Right? That's unlikely, right?
You discuss amongst yourselves? Or...
It's possible,
Just
but
like
unlikely they would admit to it.
fair.
Quick question. Waverly has Waverly met up with our group yet, or is she still gone?
Waverly is in the group. However, Waverly may be off acquiring funds. There is a dock here. Waverly tends to water rat sometimes.
Right, so we've spoken recently.
Oh, yeah.
And she is a member of the Emerald Enclave, if I remember correctly.
She is interested in them.
Oh, interesting.
Yes,
okay.
I'm not sure full membership was bestowed, but yes, they're on the same page.
Okay. She was also joining the Harpers.
Yes. I'm not sure anyone went fully in with the Emerald Enclave.
So there's
Sorry, didn't quite hear it?
aborted it.
Okay.
Sorry.
I was like, I think the mic went out on me.
Nope, sorry. I was just about to ask if there was a way, like, do the Emerald Druid people carry membership cards? Or is there a way to make sure that he's not really luring us into a trap?
Delan,
Can I make an insight check?
we could certainly make an insight check. So Delan seems fairly forthright. He seems known. He was able to arrange for a meeting with nobility. He's in the town, and he seems the type.
Cool. Okay.
And any other questions, comments, concerns? Delan, of course, gives you, a little bit of a map and instructions on how to get from A to B.
No, I think we got what we need, unless there's something else we should be expecting in the woods. I don't think there'll be snake people, but any other dangers we should keep an eye out for, or...
Yes, the snake people.
Waymarkers?
I have heard something about that. What made you... No, the Misty Forest is not home to them. They were keeping more or less themselves on the far side of the moor, and the moor is fairly dangerous to cross, but there are orcs about and other such troublesome things, kobolds everywhere nowadays, and, well, the villages have been attacked by a dragon and the cultists.
This was a dragon, right?
A green dragon.
All right. Anyone we should look for in the town? Anyone by name?
Galen has stepped up as the leader at the moment. He was warden of the forest, a good fellow. The spiritual leader of the village, unfortunately, did not survive the attacks, so they're doing what they can.
So yeah, I think Mort will just look around and be like,
Well,
well, we got anything else?
thank you so much for coming and telling us and talking to us and giving us the heads up.
Of course, of course. Really appreciate you taking the time to stop by. I wish we could convince the king that it was as urgent, but I think he does not wish to appear weak to the other kingdoms. So if you could keep this discreet.
Of course.
Yeah, I don't plan on talking to anyone.
Excellent, excellent. And Sir Peter, I know that you will be talking about this, but some time could pass. And Sir Peter's like, oh yes, it'll take a while to compose the ode. And with that, you have a waypoint on your trip to the Misty Forest, the town of Althand.
And you said that was halfway or slightly less?
That is
than
on the
halfway
nearer
through
side,
the
so let me
journey?
flip back to the appropriate map here. Sword Coast. And we are in Daggerford right now. Althand is a bit to the south in this western patch of the woods, east of you, the western half of the Misty Woods. Sycamber is the larger town where most people would do expeditions into the High Moor and to continue on. The Southwood over here is the other half of the Misty Wood, And this is where the dragon mask wearer is rumored to be. Also, where Telaise's father, the sailor, is rumored to be. Any special travel arrangements other than the carriages that I should know about?
No.
Are we wanting to continue the seemings?
Well,
In
we
case
don't
the
have
dragons are
political
still around?
time. Where
were
did you
seemings
guys
occurring?
encounter the dragons? Was that on
When we
this
were
road?
the tradeway. It was when we were running along the other side of the High Moor.
And seeming lasts for a decent amount of time, right?
It
Wasn't it like
does. It basically takes up my 5th level spells though to get it
Right.
keep it going all day.
Right?
And it's just
Oh,
whether or not
okay. So it lasts for like an hour?
Specifically 8 hours. So yeah, so 2 castings covered basically the moving of the day.
And how many people does that cover?
As many as I want, actually. Change the appearance of any number of creatures I can see within range being 30 feet. So I guess not as many, because limited number of people in a 30-foot square. But plenty for what we have here.
That can definitely help out with the disguise. So is that a plan, and is that happening?
I'm paranoid about it for it. Anyone
Sure.
else?
I mean, yeah, I can't really stop her from casting the spell.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, you
Might-
can.
you
But
can.
there
I
could
wouldn't
be more
want to,
intelligent
like, I
uses.
don't-
Stop. But
He just starts running out of range. He's like, no!
but,
My computer crashed, so I missed what the plan was.
I was just asking if
seemings.
seeming was still something we wanted to do, since someone had brought up that there were still 3 dragons that would love to eat us.
There
or
are.
if we count the one that doesn't know about us yet.
it's a good idea.
So
It's not a bad idea.
It's actually 6 if we're counting. 2 whites, a blue.
We've pissed
3
off
blacks.
a lot of dragons. So perhaps not looking like us is a good idea in general.
All right. So
all right, and still going with like basically the less cool versions of everyone.
Yeah.
Less cool
Valandra emerges once more.
No.
Yeah, never forgetting that one. So,
Damn it.
as that goes underway, if I
mean,
could have,
Papa Ashes could take a.
there we go.
reappear.
Just get the old inked tabaxis. But as that all takes place, if I could ask someone to do me a favor and roll the fateful d20, you do not want to see a 1. 19 has a 1 in it, but it's not just a 1 by itself.
That's good.
So,
Kasey, can I quick roll my portent dice
yes, please.
before we get going? 2d20, not 30, please. Oh, okay, so these are for bad people today.
Yes. These are enemy dice.
Those are indeed enemy dice. So,
Kasey.
Yeah.
Before we start off, at the end of every day, I'm going to be ritual casting a commune with nature.
Okay.
And just asking if there are, or just finding out if there are dragons within 3 miles of us.
Bring that spell up real quick, if you would.
Give me a sec.
That's
Love
a good
you.
plan.
It's a great idea.
And as you bring that spell up,
Oh, I guess it doesn't say dragons.
Minerals, animals, peoples.
Powerful
Eh,
celestials, fae, fiends, elementals, or undead influence.
It's basically everything but.
everything but
Aren't dragons not kind of animals? I would argue they are.
they don't fall under the animal because you're not allowed to polymorph into them when you're able to do animals. They're their own thing.
They're people.
I mean, they're
They're
sort of
sentient.
people.
They're sentient. That should sort of count as people.
I mean,
Some fashion. I kind of feel like they were neglected in this list. 'cause there's
Yeah,
I
if they
everything
can
else that's
detect
on it.
powerful celestials, then it feels like they should
Yeah,
be
I
able
feel
to
like they
detect
should be
dragons.
in that
they really
list.
go with the planner influences as opposed to.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree they should be in that list. And each evening, you.
To be fair, if you look at the spell not in this format, the prevalent plants, minerals, animals, or peoples is separate. Like the powerful celestials to undead is a separate line than talking about the rest of them. So it's like it
That
could be
seems reasonable.
interpreted.
So you do get alerted to the presence of dragons. As you leave Daggerford, that presence goes away. But you do know there was a dragon or more
In town?
Within 3 miles of Daggerford.
within 3 miles of Daggerford.
Oh, we got to sneaks, you guys.
Well,
But
that's
not like
alarming.
obvious, like
I think
super
that's
super
where I
chill
can-
sneaking.
I think.
It's pretty good that we're just
I guess that-
disguising ourselves, right?
Yep.
Oh man.
So
Would Mord go and tell someone?
would Mord go and tell someone?
I mean that's a rhetorical question. Mord would go tell someone.
But who would he tell?
I mean, if
Well,
you're within Daggerford, he would probably try to contact
The lady?
the Duke. Not the actual Duke, but the person who's effectively taken charge.
So
That'd be Lady Daggerford.
that would be the Lady of Daggerford, and you do know. Some of you weren't here for this. Within the walls of Daggerford, magic is currently banned, and a small moat-like creature has been released that lights up if magic is cast as a primitive way to detect magic, but fairly effective. So, Mord, you'll be waiting, I hope, till you're outside the walls of Daggerford to do this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So outside the walls, you're like, I'll just take care of this, get this out of the
Yeah,
way.
I had assumed we would be like just slightly on the road, maybe
Mhm.
not too far from Daggerford when we did it, but maybe we were staying in town. And
So
he would just go out and double check.
yeah, so you start to head out. You're getting on the road. You're like, all right, I'll do my check, and the seaming is getting started, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, dragons. And
So he would. Sorry, go ahead.
okay,
Pinged.
I was just gonna say, like, if he got the sense of dragons within 3 miles of Daggerford, he would go and tell the authorities and be like,
Stop and
Hey,
turn around,
like-
head back into the.
and
yes.
you go to tell the authorities, and you kind of rush up to the guard, and the guard's like, well, I mean, isn't that fairly obvious? That's why we have all these precautions about the cult and the magic. We know they're here, just can't lay hands on them.
I mean, do we know automatically know the dragons are bad?
I don't think you do know that.
Because
I
there are
suppose that's true.
there are good dragons.
There are good dragons.
There are less dangerous dragons to humans, yes.
The dwarf has a point.
If they're shiny, they're generally less dangerous. These
If they're
are not
shiny, they're less assholes, but brass dragons,
To-
I've read.
To be
real
fair,
dicks.
commune with nature does say up to 3 facts about your choice of any of the following subjects. So, like, you could see if you could get the type of dragon from the spell as well.
Or like how many,
Yeah.
or at least their Hell, I could determine their location. For example, you could determine the location of, and then if you replace powerful undead.
Location, type,
dragon.
Yeah. How many?
So existence, location, and type, or because.
So I think what you're gonna ping back is that there is a dragon. It is within the town. So you spend some time doing this ritual, and then you move around, do the ritual again, move around, do the ritual again, and sort of triangulate that it is within the bounds of the town.
It's inside the town.
In the town.
Point of interest. The spell doesn't function where nature has been replaced by construction. It's unclear to me whether that's within the range or just if you're casting it there.
So that's where I'm going to say you are getting your ping, you are getting the direction, but then you are just sort of losing it as you reach the construction on the town. It's saying dragon in this direction, but
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. That's fair.
So we think it's inside the town.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess.
That's a bit of a more pertinent information to give them.
So we're doing everything we can.
The killer's inside the house.
He's like, what do I do with this information? And I'll go tell the lady that we think there's a cult and possibly a dragon in the town, but we already think that, so thanks. They seem unimpressed.
Now it's been confirmed.
Yes.
Yeah, well, whatever.
They're part of it. I mean,
I'm just doing my due diligence.
I appreciate that. Thanks.
Yep.
Be grateful.
Good job. Generic dwarf that I've not seen before because of the seeming.
I am very bland.
Just, he's a gray dwarf. So, anything else?
I think that along with the seeming, just in case, like as they're going, maybe every hour or so, Dawn will cast prestidigitation just to change their smell, their scent a bit. Just
smell. Way to think about that.
All right.
Good. Nice. So
that's a creative use.
As you go along, you go from smelling like
themselves
to someone else. That'll work.
Not.
So we're gonna go ahead and flip maps, and this is a big one.
Your maps are huge.
This is just sometimes you need more space when you've got a lot of characters and things that fly.
I only have 9 hit points. That's not right.
Why do you have 9 hit points? So I am missing a bunch of other things as well, so let me drag a few of those over to the map here.
Speaking of other things, I'd feel a lot better if I could throw a couple of Pokeballs.
We could throw some Pokeballs. So let's see here. We got Edgar. Edgar's going on the board. Am I in the right layer?
Oh, hey. I think one of those was a giant elk.
No, the giant elk is an 8.
Oh, damn.
That's a weasel, a badger, and a giant badger.
Well.
Wait, she summoned a badger, right?
Yeah.
Oh no, it was a weasel.
2 of them.
Wait. So the weasel, did someone make that weasel the legendary character? Or
badger?
He's legendary in my heart.
I think no one actually officially bought that yet. There was the
Wait, what are we doing?
During the battle royale that we did, the weasel was the one that fucking killed Valandra.
Mmm.
And we were talking about using buying that one as an NPC. I don't think it actually happened.
I'll do
Yeah,
it right
so.
now. Shit.
Wait, hang on. It's the wrong sprite. That's a pixie. So many characters.
And
Do with
then
all these.
Valandra has a familiar too, right?
Yeah, an owl.
And Owl.
Is that Eos?
That's Eos.
Oh, okay.
Should be Eos, I believe.
Somewhere along the line, we lost Eos's custom picture. But
Did I
that's
lose?
fine.
I probably have it here and I just lost it. I will get
It's
that
not
fixed.
a big deal.
And Ruqiyo also has a weasel, I think. Right?
Mhm.
Weasel,
Yeah.
badger, giant badger. Another weasel?
Yep.
So honestly, I
Okay.
think this is becoming a thing because
there's a weasel.
Valandra wants me to use the weasel more. I think the weasel is just staying in.
Every
on-
enemy you
on my
guys have
shoulder.
now opens with a fireball, just so you know. That is the opening move of every enemy. We are not going to bring on the animated shrub, and we are not going to bring on the... Wait, how do I not have an owl?
You have it under creatures and monsters below named NPCs
You
as
have a-
the only thing in that category.
But it's not, but for some reason that's what I did. Who knows why. So let's bring that
Probably
owl out.
started to organize and then stopped.
That's very likely.
Player bestiary.
Yep, that's almost exactly what happens. This whole menagerie is making its way along. You are heading towards Altand and starting to make your way into the Misty Forest. The Misty Forests are so named because of the near constant fog and drizzle that comes from the humidity rolling off the high moors, getting into the forest, into the shade, and just it's always there. The entire area is near constantly lightly obscured, so if you decide to hide, it's fairly advantageous, but it cuts down on the vision a bit. It's getting into the warmer months at this point, so you're into the summer season, but still a lot of water, a lot of mud and muck as you move about. You're moving from south to north, and you can see this is a fairly open spot. There's some older ruins ahead of you, but nothing really troublesome. As you move forward, however, you notice something a bit odd. A massive tree has fallen. It looks to have fallen some time ago, and as it fell, you can see that it must have landed upon two figures. They're skeletonized now, long dead. But from the position of the two bodies and the relative size of them, one would have been a adult, full-size humanoid. The other probably a youngster or one of the lighter humanoid sizes. As the tree fell, it looks as though the older had made some effort to get the younger out of the way, but even now that all of the foliage has come off and most of the sticks and branches have broken away, this is still a massive tree. They just must not have had time to move far enough and were crushed underneath it. As you're sort of looking on, things go still enough that you start to hear the cheeping and peeping of little birds up in the trees, and looking around, you can see that many of the nests in the area are made and have little bits of metal or cloth that must have been harvested from these long dead. One in particular calls your attention. The nest, even though it's very rumpled and bent, a bit of scroll seems almost perfectly preserved. You can still see the edges are squared off, even though it's all balled up a bit, and from inside you can hear the chirps and peeping of young birds. That's happening just a bit to the north in that wet area, and you can see that most likely the tree just too heavy for the wet ground and toppled at some point on these unfortunates.
That's certainly unlucky.
So we spotted a scroll that is now part of a bird's nest.
There is a scroll that is part of a bird's nest. It's up in the trees a bit, a good 15, 20 feet up.
Can I grab that with a mage hand?
You could, but you would be undoing a nest to do so. Which you can certainly do, but...
If she won't do it, Dawn will. He doesn't give a fuck about it.
I was gonna
I'm
say,
curious.
like,
That's sad,
some
but
people
they'll make a new
love
nest.
in this party, but there are others.
Like, if he sees Waverly hesitating, he'll just kind of, like, roll his eyes, do it himself.
And I believe Tabaxi do have a climb speed, correct?
It's a cantrip, who cares?
Oh, no, the mage hand. I'm sorry. I thought you were going to actually climb up there.
No, he'll mage hand it. He's a sorcerer now. He's got that.
Sure, you just... whoop. A little bit of shaking later, and you're bringing a scroll down. It does... do you make any efforts to maintain the nest or the birds inside, or you just yoink?
No, he's yoinking.
All right, yoink. You hear peep, 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 spoop. As... one of the...
No splats?
No, spoop. Just mud.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they're now...
Loudly peeping.
Yeah, loudly peeping. They're upset about this situation, and they're on the ground now. And you're sure eventually something will come along and take care of that for you. But you have now a scroll in your possession. You shake it out, and it unrolls rather nicely. You can tell just by looking at it that obviously magic was involved in this scroll, but Dawn, I don't know that the magic is of a type you're familiar with.
Can he make out anything, or
a lot of
I don't...
looks kind of the religious-y sort of scroll work.
Just kind of raise a brow and show it to Valandra.
Can she make anything of it?
Oh, certainly. Valandra, you take a look at the scroll and you're like, herein lies the methods for which the raising of the dead can be done. And as you continue reading along, Scroll of Resurrection.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Yeah, put that in the bag quickly. Sorry, birds.
Well, Mord's going to go over and talk to the birds using Speak with Animals. And then wait for their parent to come back and just be like, hey, these are yours. I'm sorry. My compatriots were kind of mean about this. And then, start gathering up stuff.
They get the birds against us, man.
Yeah, like anyone else.
So go ahead and give me an animal handling check on this one, because these are birds that have been toppled out of the nest and fell quite a ways.
Can I help? I can also talk to animals.
Sure.
Guidance.
Okay, so helping with guidance?
Helping with guidance, it sounds like. Animal handling, please.
23.
23. So it takes a bit of doing, but you do manage to get the birds back into a semblance of a nest. You get them back high enough in the tree that they'll probably be okay. And you sort of, shout up to the birds overhead, who really seem to want nothing to do with you right now, having, just toppled infants out of a nest in order to get part of the nest for yourselves. You're like, no, it's fine. Sorry. You just threw infants at the ground.
Or just songbirds?
Mostly they're raven crow style corvids.
No.
Okay.
So the types.
They'd have been nicer if you mentioned that to begin with.
That's what I was like. They're not. I was trying to come up with what they are. Starlings are the corvids.
There are a bunch.
Yeah.
Starlings are not corvids.
There's one and I've just lost it. It's not magpies.
Magpies are...
Jays? Magpies are corvids. Jays are corvids.
Jays. Go with jays.
Okay.
well, fuck for blue jays.
Yes, they are not ravens, i.e. you wouldn't have had any hesitation on that style.
Little blackbirds.
Little blackbirds. So, with that recovered, still two skeletonized corpses underneath a large tree, and you have a scroll of resurrection.
Okay, so are we going to revisit the... We're not? Alright. Not bringing it up. Alright. I kind of look at Mord for a second, look at Valandra, look back at Mord, and don't mention anything. Maybe, slight prayer for the unfortunates before we leave.
Sure.
I don't know. She has a different opinion on the long dead than ones that were just like days ago.
The strangers buried in the road, were they really that fresh?
They were literally days ago.
Yep, they were
okay.
Yeah, they
Her
were
ability
days.
to raise dead.
These would be beyond Valandra's ability to raise dead, though.
Though not beyond the scrolls, potentially.
Oh no, I mean a resurrection can handle, I think, hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Good.
Dawn is not pleased with that particular scroll. Like when you die, you should stay dead.
What if you don't want to?
Then you're a fool.
Please tell me that conversation actually happened in the game.
I think it did.
Yeah, I think it did.
I think it did.
What if you don't want to?
Then you're a fool.
Pretty sure that did. Anything else you all would like to do? You still need to head north, which is, make your way a little bit west to go around the ruins.
Did you say we were entering the woods, so have we left the wagons behind at this point?
So you can still travel with your carriages at this point. You just have to go a little ways ahead and then lead the horses along just to make sure there's no trouble. And the path, as you can see, kind of winds its way around through old villages and outlays. But there are still paths through this part of the wood. Anything else before we continue along?
I think so.
How far is the visibility? Like, because it's all foggy and misty.
It is all foggy and misty. You can see basically until the trees block your view. So in more densely packed, you're only going to see 20 to 30 feet. You could see further, but you're just seeing... if you send them up anywhere there's not too bad of tree foliage cover, you can see for miles and miles. You're up above the mist at that point.
Okay.
Seeing anything down in the mist would be a little more difficult.
Yes.
I would like my fairy to be scouting then invisibly.
Sure.
And let me know if there's, anything that looks particularly dangerous.
Got it.
Eerie is also going to scout just 100 feet up, so we can still be in communication.
Sure. You continue on a few more hours of travel. And then all of your scouts start to report back different things. Io starts to fill you in on some construction ahead, rope bridges, tree forts, things of that nature. Eerie starts to feed back some very bad smells on the air and some rather nasty looking corpses in and amongst those areas. The weasels, the badgers start to get a bit nervous as you approach and see one of the ruined elven villages. You can see that they made their homes up in the trees, connected mostly by wooden bridges. And that would make sense for defense against orcs and other troublesome humanoids, but being up in the trees like that, it looks like they had nowhere to go and nowhere to hide against the dragon's breath.
Oh.
Lots of dead elves. And fortunately, due to the poisonous nature most of the carrion creatures have had to stay away, so they're just there and ripe.
Like how fresh?
Oh, this is several weeks ago.
How big a settlement was this? How many people?
You would guess about 80 adults.
Ooh.
Can prestidigitation remove one's sense of smell temporarily?
You can throw peppermint under your nose enough that it burns your eyes and you don't really smell anything else. Or similar.
That sounds legit.
Or you just take a little bit of wax and just stuff it up.
Shove it up there.
But, are you entering the village or making your way around? This is not Alt End. Just one of the ones that didn't make it.
Part of me feels like we might be able to, like, it's weeks old though, so I don't know that we would really gain any information. It's just if on the off chance there was more than just a, ruthless dragon attack that went on here.
Yeah, I can speak with dead. Want.
I think Mord would go around and just try to, see if there are any fresher tracks from humanoids. Maybe
Sure.
In case
see if he
anyone
can
did make
find
it
any
out.
Survivors.
So go ahead and give me a survival check on that one.
Guidance.
So Mord, you start making your way around. The tracks are long since mucked up. There's so much moisture in the air. The occasional drizzles, it's just really taken anything away. But you can see that there were humanoids here other than the elves who fell. There are some arrows embedded in trees. There are some sword strikes. You can see where doors up in the area had been kicked in, and several craters where things had been thrown down from above and then dragged away. So it looks like not only was the villagers killed, but then looting took place. The tracks are far too old to make out what they were, but you would deduce cultists, possibly accompanied by kobolds.
Okay. Large things thrown out of the sky and then dragged away. I guess
Furniture,
maybe that
valuables.
picked up, some horses, or yeah. Okay. All right. Well, after he's made an effort to see if there were any survivors in the area, he would head back to the group.
Do I know anything about elf burial rites?
You could certainly take a stab at it.
Do one of the half elves?
I mean, you know enough to be respectful of the various gods. A pyre rarely offends, especially in a mass situation. As long as you're not horrible to the bodies, you really can't go wrong.
Okay. Valandra will glance around and ask if we have time to put these people to rest properly.
The entire village? Well, maybe if we're lucky, only half of it?
So it would be about 80 people, and they are up in tree houses, so there'd be a little up and downing. You could reasonably easily get a pyre going. Burial would take a little bit longer unless one of you has something like mold earth to handle the digging.
I mean, a pyre is fine as long as that's something that the elves themselves be fine with. Valandra just doesn't like leaving them like
sure.
this.
Yep, that's a respectful way to...
I can start it. I mean, what? I mean, I know how to. Of course, clearly.
Sure.
I guess, does anyone object to taking the time to do that?
I think Meridia would probably be in support of that.
Are we on any time limits?
Technically, there's that one dude that we're not even certain if we believe him. That's
Not really going his direction anyway.
no, he's already after this current adventure, and so it's just, do we add more things? Poor guy. I hope
Yeah,
he's.
no,
I
there
really
wasn't
hope
a
he's
time
not real.
limit for this one.
Poor Iskander.
There wasn't a particular time limit. It was just the possibility of more attacks or whatever they happen to be doing. So
These are true things. So, if I could please have a religion check, just as you go about the various rites. And then if I could have, on top of that, someone roll a fateful d20 for the time that'll be passing.
guidance. 18.
Sounds good.
The 20. I rolled the D20.
The d20, the 13 for the d20.
Yeah.
So time passes fairly uneventfully. There's some nasty moments, but you've dealt with battles and wars before, and this is the remnants of a dragon attack. Eventually, everyone is laid to rest in the pyre. The pyre has begun, and over time, they're dealt with. Anything valuable seems to have already been stolen, and you can see marks on the flesh of the dead where jewelry had been torn away, where anything finer than very common garments had been ripped off. And the village, now dead, looks as though eventually it'll just turn back into forest. Are you spending the evening here, or do you want to get a little bit further away?
Time is it?
Most of the day has passed, so you're heading towards late afternoon. You could probably get another 2 or 3 hours of travel if you wished. There are houses here.
Valandra won't say anything at the pyre. Oh no, actually, nope. Never mind.
You're performing rites, aren't you?
Well, yeah, it's. Never mind. I was gonna do something else too, but I didn't see that the casting time was a little longer than we have spent right now. The casting time for Hollow is 24 hours.
Ah.
Yeah.
Not suggesting that. I didn't
enough.
realize it took that long.
You've taken the basic precautions and done the effect of the ceremony spell. So I think that gives you an hour or two or something like that, and generally they wouldn't raise.
Okay.
And then you move on?
I think so.
I mean,
Might as well
there's
get as much
probably
travel
still-
out as we can.
Yeah, and there's probably still some lingering smell in the area, so we probably don't want to bed down here for the night.
We have a hut, don't we?
We
can
do.
look in there.
We do.
Mhm.
We've got.
It was kind of cozy with us before, so it'll be extra cozy now. But
Are there
It is-
two
the-
hut casters now?
are there two
no.
hutcasters?
Dawn can cast. I think he can. Yeah. Yes, he can.
Oh, it should be, yeah, because that's a ritual spell.
Okay.
Yep.
So,
cool.
so 2 huts can now be created.
9 creatures of medium size or smaller can fit inside the dome with you.
Sounds good.
So 18.
So we could hold
Which-
18 people. We have 8, don't we?
Yep.
That's true.
And 7 creatures.
7 creatures, as well as the horses, but the horses have to stay outside anyway.
Yeah.
So you make your way.
Can't make the horses a hut of their own.
The horses are a large creature,
they're just in there by themselves?
Yes, horses are a large creature.
Horses are a large creature, so
So they're 2 people.
the hut just doesn't know how to handle that much
Specifically
horse.
says medium or smaller,
Yeah.
so.
I know.
They just keep standing up, but their ears are sticking out. It's just a mess.
They're
But
horses. We can leave them outside. They'll be fine.
but the night does pass uneventfully. The next morning comes. You travel on a bit further, and today you should, according to the map and the directions, reach Althand. Any preparations I should know about as you approach the village? You've been traveling using your seeming and so on, so that would continue, I assume.
Yeah, continue masking smells.
Got it. Could I have one more? Oh, go ahead.
I would just ask people if they would like it dropped when we get to town, because I guess I don't know what happens if we lose sight of each other.
Well, I think once it's cast, it's cast.
Once
right?
it's cast, as
Okay.
long as you maintain.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't even think seeming maintains. I think that's just up.
It's just up, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
just 8 hours.
you got 8 hours
Okay,
of,
cool.
of looking like a bland
So as long as we
Valandra.
remember what the boring version of ourselves look like, we're fine.
Or as long as I remember what the boring versions of you look like.
It's actually you yourself, because you can't
Oh, okay.
see your own illusion. So like if you're illusioned with a longer nose and you scratch your own nose, it looks like you're picking your nose.
Yes,
So
it does.
just be aware. But if I could have one more fateful D20. Well done. You arrive at the town of Althand. As you draw closer, several elves make themselves known from up in little lookouts positions in the tree, calling down to you, "Ho! Hold up there. Who are you and what's your business?"
I suppose the truth is the good thing here, guys, right?
Yeah, what was the name of the druid that talked to us?
Dalen?
Yes.
It was like Dylan, but just slightly not.
We'll go with that. Delan. Delaan. Winterhound.
Oh,
Yeah, Delan asked us to stop by. What is?
what with the dragon activity?
The previous warden shoot.
Galen?
Galen.
No, that's
the
that's who
current-
sent
the current-
us. The
No, Delan.
So Delan is the druid who sent you. Galen is the warden who seems to have taken over.
Oh, okay.
Yep, Galen. And those are the two big names. And as you start dropping those names, like, you're here for Galen? Hold on a moment. Let me get word to him. Don't do anything that makes me want to shoot you. And you can hear him call out behind him. You hear echoes of those calls. Those calls echo back. That'll be just a moment.
Cool. Thanks much.
And you can tell there's some movement. They're keeping an eye on you. The bows aren't drawn, nothing like that, but eventually, Elven Man comes forward, wearing leathers, long sword at his hip, long bow on his back. I don't remember sending for anyone. I'm Galen. What can we do for you? Or what can you do for us?
A friend of yours named Delan Winterhound sent us your way to learn about the situation in town and check up with you guys. We're out here trying to find the dragon that did this to your town.
Yeah, well, I wish you luck in not doing that. Dangerous beast. Took out half the town before we chased him off. Delon sent you, eh? I suppose the Enclave's gonna meddle. Good for what they do, but a bit troublesome when they get bored. So, you think he's coming back here then, the dragon?
Well, there's a chance he's still in the area, yeah? I don't think he's just gone.
They don't seem to be leaving many survivors.
No.
Honestly, you're the weird one in that you're still mostly seer.
True that. Had a bit of good fortune. Many of us were on the ground, working when the dragon came. Well, good fortune and bad. He had to split his attention between low and high. That gave time for enough of us to get out to the forest, out of range of his breath. Peppered him with arrows from there. Still, cost us half the town.
What color was it?
Green. Poisonous like the snake. He, didn't seem much mind for a fight after that. Took a few arrows. I think we put one or two into his rider as well. Then they took to the air.
Rider?
Yes.
Did he wear a mask?
Aye. Bit of green on his face.
Sweet indeed.
But, no, that man isn't much of a fighter. I think we tagged him with an arrow or two, but whatever it was, it is enough. They took to the air and could be seen heading away. We regrouped. There were a bit of cultists. Looked like they were waiting on a signal to pounce, but we showed them enough arrows and chased them off as well. Gathered ourselves back up, and that was that.
How
Now,
many did you lose?
well, by the time's all said and done, near to 100 of us. Not all at once, of course. There were a few that took their time dying, but at least we had a chance to speak with them and offer them some comfort. Fewer would have died, I think, if the priest hadn't been swallowed by the dragon.
That is indeed unfortunate.
Loss of a healer hits hard.
Did they knowingly go for the healer, or did the healer go out to rescue people and happen to be in the way?
Oh, I wasn't there for that bit. I'd already taken to the forest. Hold on a moment.
Okay.
And he calls around. Hey, who was on the ground? You step forward. Yeah. The dragon, when it came down, landed on the ground. Took out a good many folk. There were cultists that came running out, and that's when the priest stepped forward. Dragon struck him, and then arrows from the woods. Galen and the others fought back, but it's too much for them.
I see.
See which direction they came from and which direction they left.
Well, the cultists had tried to ring us in entirely. But the dragon headed away to the east. We didn't have enough to follow him, but from the look of him, he was still in the air and moving quick when he would have cleared the forest edge.
The counterattacks, did the dragon leave behind any scales?
Any scales?
Yeah. Any scales that were shot off, or?
Oh, haven't fought many dragons, but I don't think they work like that.
No one cut off a bit of a claw or shot off something else?
You guys thinking for tracking purposes or scrying purposes?
Scrying.
Nothing I can think of, but go ahead and roll a investigation on that one.
Me or?
Oh, whoever's inquiring
Can I
into
help
it.
you with that?
Sure.
That
Guidance.
sounds like a good idea. So that's with advantage. Investigate.
So you start working with the village, and you can tell that they're a little proud of having fought off the dragon. Sad, obviously, but there's something to be said for having been the village that repulsed the attacks where all the others failed. And Galen sort of goes back to managing things, but some of the younger warriors and hunters, starts talking you through it, how it happened, and they show you where, well, the dragon landed here, and then the cultists came from this side, and then, or how would you say it? Father, I think you would say, Father Weatherly came out, and then tragic what happened to him. And then the arrows from all sides started striking the dragon. It moved into the bushes here, pursuing one of the groups. More arrows, the cultists, we've chased those off, and then the dragon up into the air from there. So, and they're walking you through, and they're sort of inspecting the ground. Nothing was really found here. They kind of go through the bushes. And from the range and the way the arrows would have struck, you can't think that, maybe a few flecks of blood might have fallen, but certainly an arrow strike at a dragon is going to knock off anything significant. And it doesn't look like it engaged in any serious combat in melee. It ate the priest and then was mostly chasing archers.
Yeah. All right. It was a long shot, but a -10 on a scrying check.
Sure.
Worth asking about.
Certainly. And then
Do we know the dragon's name?
I wouldn't know. So they reply to you, sorry. As you asked,
It's not like he announced it.
Not that I heard.
I suppose she, possibly.
Could be.
Well. So, I'm so sorry. It's just... So what was so different about what you guys did that the other villages totally failed at?
I mean,
Like,
it looks
I'm
like
so
they
glad
had-
you're not all dead, but...
And they're like, well, it seems like it was just when they attacked, we were a little
Just the fact that you weren't in one place?
more scattered, because they made their attack, And then volley after volley of arrow we launched, and that seemed enough. Several of the cultists fell. The dragon tried to pursue our archers into the woods, but was unable to. And then it retreated. We rallied and chased off the remainder of the cultists.
Sweet.
And go ahead and give me a insight, I think you're going for there. That doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
You're not like liar, but you're like
There's more to it than that. There has to be. Okay.
because the other villages, and you passed through one of them, they wouldn't have all been just sitting there waiting for the dragon breath either, and you did see some of them scattered about. You know, they did fight back, but...
Well, and the dragon wouldn't have left if he had the upper hand, or even if he was just inconvenienced by a few arrows. Like... Telaise? Valandra? Help? No? Okay.
Guys.
Dragons fall under Arcana, or do they fall under Nature?
You can do either one, depending on what you want to know about them.
Don had rolled a bunch about dragons before. Is he any help here, or should I?
Sure. Well,
roll?
what do you guys? What's going on in those brains ears?
Oh.
Okay, I guess first thing, because dragons are fully, like, intelligent people in their own rights. As far as the dragon cultists and the dragons call the shots, right? Or is it
Yes.
the other way around?
So
The dragons absolutely are calling the shots.
dragons
Oh, right.
absolutely call the shots. Yes.
Okay.
I'm not sure dragons are very good at taking orders, to be honest.
No.
Not generally, no. You do know that the dragon mask wearers, like the ones with the real dragon masks, and you've met 2 so far. Verum was one, and the Resmir was the other. While wearing their masks, they acted on par with dragons, like an equal, not commanding the dragon, but at least able to converse with them on a similar level. But Verum seemed to have disintegrated once he lost his dragon mask into just being a beat-up dwarf that you guys kept in a dirty sack. And Resmir...
Clean sack, thank you very much.
And Resmir had a really bad day when fighting the team one day, but maintained her dignity throughout.
Wait a second. This isn't just a backhanded power grab, is it? I don't know if Ruqiyo is normally this cynical.
Welcome to the team.
You learn.
I wouldn't be
is-
surprised if DM asked for a check on this, but like, can I attempt to subtly just like ask these other guys, kind of change the subject a little bit, ask them how they like, how they liked the old priesty guy and how things are going with the new guy, Galen,
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of compare and contrast some responses there?
Sure. I feel like that's kind of an investigation-y sort of thing.
Sweet. I can do that.
Can I help with that?
Please?
Sure.
Please do.
Let's see an advantaged investigation. That's a pretty good investigation.
Didn't need it. All right.
So Father Weatherly was the spiritual leader, healer, and very involved with the Emerald Enclave. Galen was the warden.
He's already badmouthed the Emerald Enclave. Only slightly, but...
Galen is the warden, so he does a lot of the hunting. The villagers talk very highly of both of them. They, of course, occasionally had disputes. Galen would want to hunt, the Emerald Enclave, and Father Weatherly would be like, maybe wait a little while. That sort of thing, but no animosity. And since, it's only been 2 weeks since the attack. No, so it's been about 3 weeks. It's been about 3 weeks since the attack. Should be somewhere between 21 and 30 days, depending on the calendar. Darn you, D&D. Galen's done a good job. I mean, he nobody believes that he single-handedly chased off the dragon. Like that's not even a rumor. They're like, but he was there firing arrows, on the ground with everyone else. He was one of the first, out of the woods, chasing the dragon off. It was a concerted effort, and I think I happen to have shot the arrow that did it, but other people think the same thing. But good guy.
First to expose himself in combat?
Galen? He was the first to. He was the rallying point, really. We were all firing from cover,
he was leading the group.
Yes, he took the lead. Yeah. Say it again?
Well, he was fairly vocal. Rallying point?
Oh, yes. Very, very... he cut the dashing figure that, without him, I don't know that we would have turned the tide. There were a lot of cultists, even after the dragon left. But when we all came forward out of the woods, continued our assault, I think that's when they broke rank and fled.
Just kind of give Ruqiyo and Valandra kind of a like, what I see in the story? kind of that look of, you catch what I caught?
Did Galen lose anyone in the attack?
Did Galen lose any family members, you mean?
Yeah.
He did. He did. Galen lost his wife.
Ooh.
She was one of those earliest struck. When the dragon descended the first time, a good score met their end. Fortunately, before they knew what was happening, but I don't think... I hope the passing was not as painful as it looked.
Spells are not always the answer, but do I have anything here?
Always the answer, but they're often the answer.
They are sometimes the answer.
I'm amused at this social situation where we're try to investigate and talk to people, and the wizard's just flipping through the spell book.
Hold it just one moment. I'm sure there's a little successful solution to awkward social interactions in here somewhere.
Right.
You're just damn it, I had something for this.
Unfortunately, I'm not finding it. So,
The time has passed, so of course they've offered you, a place to rest. They've set up the horses with some fodder. It's fairly obvious that a number of animals also died, so there is some excess resources available, and unfortunately some empty homes. So during the conversation, they do set you up, with a place to stay as these conversations are going on.
Well, whoever ends up posting or being our neighbors get adequate levels of thanks and appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
Can we stalk him, guys? I feel like stalking is the right answer.
Stalking sounds like a very good answer.
A weird feeling too.
Like, I can't put my finger on it, but I feel like there should have been, like, that's too simple of an explanation to explain how lucky these people were. And I really hope I'm wrong and just paranoid.
Do we see Galen again after we find out about his wife?
I'm sure. I mean, he's moving around the town. I mean, they're all in recovery mode, so there's a lot of repairing things going on.
And this is sort of like houses partially up in the trees, or is this like
houses are up in the trees?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, is this town set up differently than the other one that we had run into, or was that one like all on the ground?
Almost identical. They're both kind of like a tree fort village. That seems to be the style of the elves in the Misty Woods. Same type of rope bridge set up. The trees are of similar size. This looks like it was a slightly larger place, because there was about 200 to 250 adults in this town, as compared to the last one you passed through. There was only about 80. But other ones that you've heard mentioned had about the same size. This isn't the biggest
So it's not just that they have the numbers differential. Wait a second, did they talk about it poisoning at all?
Yeah, they said it was a green dragon, and that the breath was poisonous.
Okay. I just didn't know if these people had mentioned that being part of the attack, and that would have been weird for them to hold back.
Is there, like, this is not Dawn's specialty, but he can bring up, just like looking around, like, does the attack seem different? Like, given the damage that we saw at the other town, like, does it look like they came at this place the same way? It, like, stopped early?
Good question.
Or was it different?
So as you move around through the town, what you notice is that the style was very similar. The attack seems like it was in the same structure. Dragon comes in, breathes a lot of poison, kills a lot of people. The cultists come in to do the dirty work of cleaning up and do the looting. You can see that that had started. The dragon had landed, a large number of them had died, and the cultists had begun their attack. But even though you can see some places where the cultists had obviously started to loot, all the valuables seem to have been put back. Like, you can see where things had been torn, but then rehung or restitched. You can see where things are broken because they were knocked over or kicked in, but they've been righted and not repaired yet. They haven't had time, but they've been, put back in shape.
It's not weird at all.
Are there any people that are still injured from the attack?
Oh yes. They seem to have lost their healer, so they're on the mend. No
I
one's.
have a healer for rent.
And you will get requests for that.
Yeah,
No one's like
Valandra would like to
no one's
go around and try and do what she can to help the people who are.
And you can ask for the heroic stories as you're healing them.
sure. So it seems that most that were wounded badly did pass at some point. There were a lot who died of poisoned a few hours, few days later. Those that had sustained injuries, broken legs, broken arms, that sort of thing, are on the mend, and you can help move that forward a bit. There are a few that have been lamed that larger magics could fix if you wish to expend them.
I will. Yeah.
Sure. So healings start going around, restorations, greater restorations, all that sort of stuff is necessary. And you get a lot of stories. The vast majority of people were just going about their day. All of a sudden, there was just a violent wind, and 20 to 30 people died from that just first onslaught of the dragon's poison breath. After that, more were cast out from their trees as the dragon beat its wings violently, and then the breath, and then the wings, and they describe it viscerally. I mean, they were there. Some of them had been fallen, and they can show you where their skin had blistered from the dragon's breath and such. And then they talk about rallying, getting their bows out. You don't just walk around carrying a bow all the time. Who walks around in armor? Oh. But
Who
Yeah.
attends a public event in armor? Come on now.
Come on, it was just a day. But then they rallied. The arrows began coming out of the woods. The dragon tried to chase down the archers, and then I guess enough struck it and its rider. And then almost as suddenly as it began, the dragon emerged from the woods. Took to the air. We started turning our arrows on the cultists. Galen rushed out and rallied us, and we all poured out and drove them off. And then it's just been, recovering from then. Of course, now we all carry our bows and wear our armor. It smells a little funny, but
As I'm going around doing this, do I see Galen just during this period?
Yeah, I mean, you see him around usually towards morning or evening. He does spend a lot of the day doing his job. He's a warden, so he's out hunting, trying to maintain and get things back in order. Also, occasionally, he's bringing back, a body of, one of the villagers who was lost out in the woods, and died out there fighting the cultists and had been recovered. Occasionally, he'll bring back a cultist's or a kobold's body. Of course, one gets treated reverently, one gets thrown in the pile, but he's doing his job.
A kobold dead body available for us?
There are kobold dead bodies available to you. The ones from the battle were unceremoniously burned, but dealt with. But they're sure he brings one back, and he's like, "He's gonna chuck this in the carnal pit," and you're like, "Whoa! Let me see that 2-week-old reptilian corpse." Where are you going with this one?
Speak with dead. Nudge Valandra.
That doesn't prevent them lying. So if someone wants to disguise themselves as someone that they would be honest with.
Who? Can I adjust the seeming after casting? I don't know that I can.
I mean, you can
Drop
just
it.
cast it for the second time
Yeah,
for the
I mean,
day.
it could be the next
That's
day
true.
or yeah.
Who wants to look like a kobold who's short?
How about
Yeah,
how
because I can look like a cultist, don't I? I still have those purple robes. I know what a cultist looks like. That
Sure.
one.
do we? Okay, question: do we want to try and put the green mask on, or do we think that that's a deception we can't pull off?
Do we know anything about what they would say, or like, is there a signal?
Speak Draconic, so
Well,
I think
Dawn
Telaise
can
should be the one
speak-
disguised,
yeah,
but
both Dawn and Telaise can speak
Yeah.
Draconic, and they're both pretty good at like fucking with people.
So Dawn gets to look like a kobold, and Telaise gets to look like a cultist.
He's not that short, thanks.
Doesn't have to be exact.
pull down.
Just kneel. You'll be fine.
we're gonna
Rescue Dawn.
we're
Looking
gonna
like
warn
another
Galen
cultist
and the
would probably-
villagers before we turn up looking like cultists.
That
Okay.
seems like a good idea.
Gonna mention that.
I
And
see
feel
me
like
give
change
him a
the-
rundown.
Does seeming change the clothes or just the people?
Yeah,
like
you
Yep.
can change the clothes and stuff.
so it's probably better to turn the both into cultists than
Okay.
And Valandra, since she has to be there to cast the spell.
Perfect. 3 cultists.
okay.
Coming up.
Please has put on the purple robes. So that
Okay.
she looks in charge.
We'll
Well,
take
like-
them out of the village too,
Yeah.
so that can't see. We're just at peace with the villagers here.
Okay. So the village is like, okay, you guys do whatever you need to do in the woods with the 2-week-old dead kobold.
Ooh.
That's not creepy.
No, see, it's not. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no coming back from that.
sacrifices must be made.
So like they're all just like, oh,
That doesn't make
adventurers.
it better.
Yeah, that does not
Probably
make it
didn't
better.
make that better at all.
I'm not trying to make it better.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
like,
this is Dawn we're talking about.
whoa. I'm not messing with that tabaxi. So there's many clearings in the forest that you can repurpose to this. Are you setting up any particular theme, or just propping them up against a tree and then doing a speak with dead? What's the goal here? Obviously,
We're
passing
just-
yourself off as cultists first.
Like, I kind of figure that we look enough trustworthy that we don't have to like guess the truth. Oh, is that me making that awful noise?
I wasn't sure if I was hearing that or if it
Not
was
sure.
Hearing it too.
I am also hearing it, for what it's worth.
Casey, it's you.
Is it
Darn
me?
it.
Casey with a K. Casey with a K.
Oh.
With a K.
Oh, Casey with a K.
Did that fix it?
I don't hear it anymore.
You gotta
It's not
talk.
happening.
All
I think
right.
we're okay.
speak words.
I unplugged my headphone jack and replugged it in. Usually that helps.
When in doubt.
It appears okay.
Sounds
Woohoo.
good. All right.
I will
So
not nudge it.
I forgot what I was saying.
That's it.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. Forest clearing. You guys are done up like cultists, so we believe you believe it will believe you that what you are. So go ahead and bring up Speak with Dead for me, so just so I can remind myself of the rules. I believe
Yep.
you get to ask 3 questions.
I'm assuming we're going to work that out before we start
Let's
asking.
Yep.
figure out the questions.
5. So 5 questions. So you are able to, you know this, so you're able to work it out ahead of time. So please talk amongst yourselves, and when you're ready, let me know.
Oh my.
We want to know the location of the dragon.
Will it know that? Do the kobolds live in the same space as the dragon?
I don't know.
Eh.
Also, like in general, we want to know what was special about this village. Why did the dragon retreat?
That's what I want to know.
Yeah. Why did it retreat? Where is it? What's different about this village? Are we
Now-
are we possibly posing as like cultists that are from somewhere else? We're still part of the cult of the dragon, but we're not the cultists in this group, because that seems like we would know the answer to these questions.
Yeah, like I think we're like trying to meet up as reinforcements,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
we need to find them to help. Do you think that's something we can make them buy?
It really doesn't have a personality. It's not going to be in the soul back to the body.
No, you're right.
We're basically just picking its brain, and its instincts would be like, okay, I'm not going to talk to people who are my enemies. That's why we're looking
Okay.
for not. So it shouldn't have any emotional and it shouldn't have any suspicions either. Reading the spell, that's not something that it would do.
Now you guys have got a pretty good angle on it, and I think I understand what you're going for. So let's start it up, because you might change your questions as you go along.
Very true.
And
Beginning with.
you do know that this kobold died, obviously, in or shortly after the attack. So you know it might not know why something happened. It just knows what it witnessed during that attack. So what would be the first question that you voiced to
I
it?
will also cast guidance on Telaise right before I cast the spell.
Sure. So you cast the spell. You see the kobold's jaw start sort of moving. Swollen, buggy eyes roll around as it starts to focus on you.
That's my first question, guys. What's the first thing I'm going to ask?
I guess the more important thing is like, where's the dragon?
Yeah.
Where would the
like-
dragon be, right? If the battle is over, where would the dragon be?
Yeah.
That's good, because you don't want to ask where is it, because it's gonna be like, I don't know, I died, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not going to know. Where would the dragon be after
Where would
after
it
the
go?
battle?
Or where would the dragon go?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay, that's the phrasing.
Yep. So as you present the question, go ahead.
Is he just gonna say, well, to its home, and just leave it at, like, is it gonna be as
You catch that, so you know to ask,
Exactly.
where is
yes, give directions to where the dragon would have gone. And as you voice that, the corpse twitches and a voice echoes out, and the mouth isn't moving in time with the voice because things are missing. But the kobold answers, giving you directions to the south forest. So where you suspected it was, near the center of the forest, by a lake behind a waterfall. And with that, you believe you could get to about where it should be.
Okay.
Our second question. Second question would be, why from the attack on this village?
Say that one more time. I lost a little bit of it.
I'm sorry, did everybody else catch that? Because I'm asking my friends.
Okay.
Oh, no, I heard
I
why
didn't catch it either.
and this village.
Why would the dragon retreat from the attack on this village? Come through? Hello?
Yep.
Yeah.
That one came through.
Sounds reasonable?
And this is a 2-week-old corpse, so if it was involved, it would still have been alive at the time of the attack.
Well, we don't know if he was alive
during the
We-
retreat.
Yeah, we don't know if he was alive at the time of the
We
retreat,
could
so he might
ask,
not
like,
know.
did he see the dragon retreat? And then we could question from there. Something
I mean, I
along the
feel
lines.
I feel like just asking why the dragon would retreat if didn't see it, he'll just say he doesn't know, and then we won't have wasted 2 questions on it.
Exactly. To the
Yeah,
point.
that sounds good to me.
Why would the dragon retreat from the attack on this village?
And you can see that it sort of takes offense at this as it responds.
Retreat.
The great, glorious green dragon would never retreat from such lowly elves.
Then why do they still live? I don't know if, or that's not great.
Right, so that gives us the idea that there was a plan here.
Ooh, I wonder if we would know if the cultists or the dragon have had non-cultist or dragon visitors. Possibly elf visitors.
So you do know that there are elves amongst the cultists.
It's all
Legit.
races.
Yeah, their recruitment practices are brutal and not particularly selective.
I could just straight up ask it what the plan was for the
There you go.
assault on this village.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just straight up ask that. What was the plan for the assault on this village?
The great green dragon gathers tribute for Tiamat, Queen of Dragons. This village's riches were to serve as part of that tribute.
Get the feeling that this kobold doesn't really know anything about why dragon left. So I
think
feel like we should maybe use the final 2 questions to find out what we can about the green dragon and the mask wearer.
Oh, we're getting the ticking noise again.
Ah,
Maybe.
I
Dragon's
feel
name.
like well, just tell us everything you know about this great green dragon.
The question.
What do you know about this great green dragon?
In its entirety.
Yeah.
You don't get anything super useful because the kobold begins launching into just this absolute exposition of praise for dragonkind going back from the beginning of time. So if you want a brief history of time as comes from a dragon worshipping kobold, you hit the jackpot. But after a few minutes of this, you realize it will be rambling on for hours, and you've only got a few minutes left of this spell.
Even a name comes out of that?
Yes. You will get the name Cuth. Cuth.
Got one more question.
What do we want it to be about?
Maybe about like how many cultists there are, like I guess what the camp is like, because like they're camping somewhere, or they have somewhere that they're
I think
holding
that
up
would
in.
be. I think the whole holding up is probably by the waterfall.
Mm.
Not we run the gamble that that's the answer that we're going to get.
Are they planning to raid again soon?
Or where else
Yeah.
are they
Other
planning to
raids.
raid?
Where's the next
Yeah,
place?
is the next raid to take place?
So it answers, but based on the answer, you feel that it was the town that you passed prior to Altand.
Okay.
This is the first one that was hit.
That wasn't the first one that was hit. It seems like, I don't know that you guys have had asked timing-wise exactly, because both these things happened about 3 weeks ago. That one was hit after Altand.
All right. Well, that's what we got.
Yes.
Basically, it was dead and other raids happened.
So I don't know, that just makes things even more suspicious. Like, they finished the job at the second one.
Wouldn't they come back and do it here?
Like,
Yeah.
what happened here? Like, why aren't...
Yeah.
I don't know if we have any more time to sit around and wait for another body to answer us.
And I guess maybe my suspicions in Galen are misplaced. Like, it doesn't have to be necessarily someone from within the village.
Far away from your microphone?
Oh, sorry. Try and make the crackling stop. Let me adjust my volume. Better?
Still very quiet.
You still sound like you're far away.
Yeah, I mean, we have the directions to
Dragon's
where we wanna
hideout
go.
is.
I don't really know how else to find out more about what happened. Although before we started interrogating the dead, I was gonna say that as I'm going around healing, when I see Galen, I will at some point come up to him and take his hand if he'll let me, and say that it always pains me to see a wound that I cannot heal. I'm so sorry to hear about what happened to your wife.
Is there any duplicity in that, or are you being straight up just earnest with him?
No, it's just straight up.
I mean, he looks at you and he sort of puts his hand over yours and just sort of gives it a little squeeze, and then he's like, ugh, wet. And he's just like, we had a good time together. I can't regret any of that. But at least those who are still here are still here. He gestures around to the rest. That's worth a lot.
She'll nod. Yeah.
Are you off on your own when you're doing this, or are we watching that?
Oh, I can tell you right now, at the very least, Valandra goes nowhere alone not without Telaise.
I really want an insight check on that response.
Sure.
Help you.
Yeah, Valandra just walks up all, wide-eyed and caring, and then Telaise and Ruqiyo hit him with this, intense stare. Just like one over each shoulder, like, okay, I'm just gonna take my hand off of hers.
That's my baby sister. Don't touch that.
She was the one who. Okay.
Look, she's a little young for
She
me by
took
like
his hand.
2 centuries, so.
Elves reach adulthood at like the age of 50.
So yeah, no, he's an older elf, not like old, but he's obviously been doing this for a long time. Yeah, he looks 100% sincere on that one. Like he definitely lost his wife, and he's clinging to that. We lost half of everything, but at least we only lost half of everything.
All right.
Half of everything.
I mean, half of the town is dead.
Half of the village.
Yeah. Like he lost his wife, but
I get exactly what
Yeah.
you're saying. I'm listening to the exact words of what you said.
sure,
Look, everyone's suspicious at this point.
I got you. And I mean, he's obviously, just those who are alive are still here, and do everything I can to make sure they're still here.
I have suspicion, but I don't think Valandra does.
The only thing I
It's
can think
absolutely
about
not.
with what the kobold said was, like, we feel that they put stuff back and stuff, but was anything missing important or valuable to the village after the attack? Like, maybe he left because they got what they came for.
So you do a little more investigating. You guys have done really well with your investigation rolls, and the town's fairly open. So as you're like, well, is anything missing? And they're like, nothing noteworthy. I mean, and then, they sort of go back through. I mean, when we charged out, they panicked. They literally dropped everything and ran. And we saw them off.
It's weird.
Alright, well, I guess if we can't figure anything else out, I mean, we can always just go and knocking.
Yep.
All right. Anything else to be done? Now, you do have a few days' travel between the forests. You'll head out to the road, probably stop by Seconder to reprovision, and then make your way up to the other half of the Misty Forest. You'll have a few days' travel in the forest, if things go well. And then you know about the area that the kobold gave you, and it shouldn't be too hard to find. There'll be a mountain high enough to have a waterfall of that sort, or a fair rise, which between Io and the owl, it shouldn't be too much trouble, Eerie, to get eyes on it from the air. Anything I should know before you set out in that direction?
How long has the journey from Daggerford been?
You're about a 10-day.
About a 10-day?
Yep, so we'll say
So-
10 days.
So both Valandra and Dawn would probably have had time to make one potion of poison resistance.
Sounds reasonable.
Don, do you
What
have
can we do?
materials for that, or I can?
Yeah, I picked up like quote unquote materials before we left.
Okay.
Where are
That-
we? By the way,
I still got several.
I figured like the mention of black dragons and green dragons. There was going to be some potions needed.
Yep.
Casey,
It's the
where
green
are
dragon
we?
we're going after.
Yeah.
Sure. Let me flip you back to big map here.
So there's a lot of suspicions about that place.
So you have left Daggerford, and you are now in the Misty Woods. Whoop. Come on, arrow. You are now in the Misty Woods, right at about this area here. So you came out and around.
We're not
down.
quite here yet.
Not quite there yet. So
Not quite.
Not quite there yet.
Even though we're not quite there yet,
Uh-huh.
before they head out of the town, she's just gonna ask if anyone meeting the general description of her father may have passed through here.
Guidance.
Sure. How about some sort of investigation, persuasion? How are we asking this?
Be persuasive about it.
Sure.
Valandra will help.
Okay, and I have a guidance.
Yep. 35.
So you start, persuading, and you get a tale of the sailor. I did hear he passed through here some time ago, and you get the normal sort of yarn that you get, daring do and such things. But this one focused a little more on, it seems that he has left the sea, seeking love, and that's why he passed this way. A love greater than the love of the sea. He seeks inland. And, it sounds like...
Is it like a confirmation that he passed through, or it's just an idea?
It's a confirmation that he passed through. They're like, oh yes, he slept here, just like George Washington slept everywhere. Oh yeah, he stopped by here just a month or two ago.
There's a plaque next to a park bench. Like,
Yeah, the sailor sat here.
This is the spot where the sailor.
But he's local legend, local lore anywhere he goes. Of course, it wasn't this town that he passed through, and it was before the dragon problems got bad. So maybe 2 months ago, he was passing upriver, stopped by to view the beautiful forest, and did a thing. But. That the telling's a little constrained. It's like he'd like to really. The person you talk to wants to get into the story. Is like, oh yes, a story about the sailor. I did hear he passed, and he just sort of goes on. He's like, and I was telling my sister. Oh, and then he just hits like every time he tries to get into it. He's like, that village isn't there anymore. Just. Too much sadness to really get into a good story for it.
Telaise the whole time has her barred face on, where she's just smiling and understanding, and the whole time in her head she's just like, get to the fucking point. Like, yeah, your life is sad. Where's my father?
But it seems like a month or two ago, he did head inland from the sea, and this does seem to be along the way he went. And anything else before the party takes to the road once more? And if not, can I ask for 3 more fateful D20s?
I'll do one.
Ooh.
That's a 1.
No, man.
2 more fateful D20s.
Oh.
Wow, you guys
Jesus.
covering
No,
both ends of the spectrum there.
I cancel out
Wow.
the
And
one.
20 cancels out the one, right?
That's not quite how that works.
Oh.
Not quite how that works. So your travels are reasonably uneventful. You make it out of the Misty Woods, cross back over the river to Secomber, provision, reestablish yourselves, and then set out for the South Wood. Most of the time, you're sticking reasonably close to the river. The high moor is a little bit more dangerous. Eventually-
Is Secomber a place where we could get more materials if needed?
Oh, sure, absolutely. It's actually a little bit of an adventuring hub. Those wishing to adventure on the high moor tend to equip themselves here. So they have all manner of adventuring gear.
Nice.
There's not a whole lot of trade further up this way on the way to Loudwater, but there's enough, and you kind of track your way along the bank. Once you do a little river fording and so on. But you'll need to make a decision here. Are you taking your carts with you from Secomber? There really won't be a place to stash them up until the South Wood unless you travel all the way up to Loudwater and stash them there.
Do we know where in the Southwood we're going? Like, would we be passing it by?
You would not. So you'll be heading into about this area here. Hopefully I'm on the right area. Right by the
About the H.
end of the H. Right about there-ish. Where the kobold has described there is a rise with a waterfall and a lake that you should be looking for. You could continue up to Loudwater and then down, but you'd be adding another 10 to 15 days to your journey.
Yeah, that was a question. Like, if we went to Loudwater, if we would be passing the direction where we were going.
You'd be up and over, adding another 10 to 15 days.
Do we care? Like,
That's a bit. But, I mean,
it would give us time to make more potions, which would be a pro.
that would definitely be a pro.
We would have our carriages
Mhm.
closer, also a pro. It's just more time.
Sure.
Or is there any chance there's someone around here who wants to hire on with us to look after our carriages when we go into the wood?
You
Part
could.
of me likes that idea because then we don't risk another village being torched.
Sure. You can
Just-
hire on some hirelings and henchfolk.
Yeah, just have them travel with us and then look after our carriages when we head into the wood, and we'll come back out, hopefully,
They can
after a week or
drive.
two.
They can drive.
Absolutely.
Give them
Secomber.
food.
Secomber is a adventuring mecca. So there's all manner of hirelings and hench people just waiting to be swept up in a whirlwind and very profitable adventure. Who's doing the hiring?
Telaise
Not
and
me.
Dawn.
Telaise. Yeah.
Like, my money is for other things.
Well, like, to do the hiring.
No, just doing the talking.
So someone who has high
mean-
wisdom to
I mean-
perceive
Yeah.
how are they a trustworthy person?
I'll go with then, but I should have someone else to do the
Look.
actual talking.
Who's paying?
It's a good question. I
All
don't
of
have
us.
any money.
Okay, so
Dawn has a buttload of monies.
Valandra like walks out like towards where the hireling people are. There's a bunch of burly folks sitting around. One of them looks over her way. Oh my God, it's you! And runs away.
God damn it.
But the
Oh, but dude.
the others who are around, are you looking for anything in particular? Are you looking for a young, honest, fresh-faced person, grizzled veteran? What's the goal here?
Maybe maybe somewhere in between. So it looks like they can handle them.
Experienced but trustworthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's such a thing as an experienced but trustworthy adventurer, but okay. We could go for the needle in the haystack. And 2, 3, 4, how many adventuring associates would you like?
Probably just 2, right?
Yeah, we just have
yeah.
a couple carriages to look after. I don't know.
Carriages and horses to feed and.
My dog is dead.
Oh,
Aww.
Happened. I'm so sorry.
Oh.
It did happen.
Happens when you don't travel with us.
Oh, is that okay? He got eaten.
did
Oh
you
my
bring it?
god!
Oh,
I'd kind of like to get a new dog. But also, is my heart ready for that? I don't know.
oh.
I
You're
mean,
kind of
you got
the only one that can
seeming.
know that sometimes.
You got seeming, so you could make it look like you'll talk.
Wow, that's just wrong, man.
That's a little weird.
So hirelings are a skilled hireling, which you're looking for an adventurer, driver, effectively, would be 2 gold pieces per day.
Oh yeah, that's nothing.
So that would be your going rate.
It has no money.
And you would be looking at, if you're going to be traveling from Succomber to Loudwater, and that's going to be about 20 days. You'll probably be spending some time in the woods, so maybe add 10 for that. And then, negotiations as to whether they're staying in Loudwater then, at which point it's just 30 days, or whether they're coming back to Succomber with you, which would be a total of 50. So you're looking at somewhere between 60 to 100 gold is the negotiating range.
I think
that
if
seems
they
totally worth it to me in exchange for being able to make potions on the road and not taking an extra 10 to 15 days.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
Though
then
would
again,
be-
I have no money, so
yeah, that's like Dawn could cover that because
Okay.
But
so then
do
what
we
I
want them to take the carriages and stuff to Loudwater or camp? Because I mean that would be safer for them and our stuff, and then we'd have to pay them less. But
to continue to Loudwater or to camp?
yeah. No, I
Safer.
mean like if they continue to Loudwater.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, because then
Okay.
we really
So they're
Like,
basically
even if-
taking you up to, right about here. You guys hop off and head to the Southwood. They continue up to Loudwater to wait for information. You will know them by face then, so you would have the ability to use sending or whichever. They pretty clearly say, we're not driving carriages into the woods to rescue you.
no,
So
not
you
at
know
all.
that.
I'm
Like,
not asking for that.
Like,
We're not
Come-
expecting that.
to come meet us to pick us up
sure, they can.
after
They'll make the
our
travel up and down.
shenanigans.
And they're kind of like, yeah, don't tell us about shenanigans. It's better you don't know. But I will need a pair of rolls for each of them. I will need a persuasion roll and a perception roll. You could also do an
Persuasion.
insight or a intimidation as you like.
I got the perception.
Okay, so for that's pretty good.
29 and 19.
Yeah.
Well.
Oh no!
Oh,
Didn't you let me do the persuasion roll? What are you doing?
He's good at it. Look at his. He can persuade just fine. I guess
You didn't.
He got a little overconfident.
he didn't like this guy and gave up. Told
So
him to fuck off. So it's your turn to find somebody. To like,
no, they are hired on. So
They're
they are hired on. Just one of them's just like in it for the money. It's pretty clear that one of these two is all about, eager beaver kind of guy. The other one's just like, I'm heading to Loudwater anyway. You can pay me 30 gold and I'll drive the carriage and we're good. Please deduct 60 gold,
Yes, sir.
and that will cover up to Loudwater and hanging out there with the carriages. Then we will pick back up on the way back. But
on the way there, I did roll in that one.
you did roll a nat 1.
Dim. He could have forgotten.
Nope.
Yeah, but Zay wanted to blast him, so.
I'm big on blasting.
So, maps should switch any moment now. And the very top
terrible.
left-hand corner of the map.
Want to be a part of it.
Oh yeah, that looks horrific. Cool.
Aw.
That's the bottom of a waterfall, y'all.
That's the bottom of a waterfall with a nice lake.
We can't carriage our way to a waterfall.
So
Is it on the road?
no. The travel goes well. You make your way to the lake with the waterfall, where the kobold.
Where we were planning on going?
Where we planning on going?
Ask everybody else. Is that where the plan was? Were we going to fight a dragon?
That was my impression. Do I have the wrong impression?
Nobody else is chiming in.
I could take the lake away.
I don't know, did we have another idea?
Are we going after that cultist? Like, we came out here for a reason.
Yeah, we were going after the cultist, which was riding dragon. I don't think we had another lead.
You go anywhere else you want. You want to go to Loudwater? You can go to Loudwater.
Well, I imagine that the cultist that wants to escape or whatnot is, with the others, which are with the dragon.
Which are behind the waterfall, which is...
What's in this picture? So...
Were we unprepared for the waterfall? Is it a scary waterfall?
It is a scary waterfall. Yes, there's lots of trepidation
I thought
involved with this waterfall.
those two paths were divergent, and I did not realize that this is the direction they were together, because the way that we've been talking about for like the past 2 sessions is that the 2 quests that we are on are separated, and I did not realize we were going to this one.
Oh, so hang on. So there are 2 quests that are separate. There's 2 quests that are separate. There is a green dragon that has a dragon rider with a green dragon mask identified. That is Cuth the dragon, whose name you figured out, who the kobold described as living behind a waterfall by a lake in this area.
Giving us a green dragon mask.
Yeah, green dragon mask. Iskander, the other dude, is in Zonthar's tower, and he says he has his hands on the blue dragon mask.
Okay, that's where I was confused.
There we go. Yes, so 2 dragon masks, green and blue. Green is this one, who, coincidentally, stories of Telaise's father, similar area, but not in the cultist belly, so to speak.
I'm caught up now. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
So where's the blue guy in relation to where?
Further east and further south, basically on the other side of the high moors, closer to where the Serpent Hills are.
See, I thought they were both the same one.
Nope, different colors, slightly different spots.
How long was the
They
trip?
did push to come this area.
Yeah.
So
How long was the further trip up here?
Sure. Further trip up here, effective for you with your carriages, would have been 20 days.
Okay.
So you have 20 days in your carriages.
2 more potions. I don't know if we want them all to be poison resistance, because we do have a magic silver ewer that can actually give poison resistance to 4 people once every week. And the dwarf already has.
Wrong thing, or I can give it once a week.
What?
long effect, or it gives it once a week?
You cut out again in the same place.
Never mind.
It does not last the whole week.
Thank you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry. Once a week. I think it's like for an hour or something,
That sounds about right.
which is the same time period as the potion. I just mean we don't have to make 7 potions for all
Sure.
of us.
Okay.
Um,
So if we're going to blue, we should be doing lightning's one.
yeah.
We are going to green.
We go to green first. We're just like
That's where we're at, because that's where Telaise.
okay.
So all right, hang on.
Dragon slaying like tour around the
We can worry
around
about blue later.
forest.
We can worry about blue later, because Telaise is like, nope, my dad's in this area, and this is where we're gonna go.
Yep. Sorry, I did not color code well. So
It's also been like forever since we did anything with this, so
We'll get-
memories are
we'll
not
get you.
great right now.
So you're starting from Sycamber, where you guys were. The Southwood, right here, is where the Green Dragon Cuth and the Green Dragon Mask Wearer is rumored to be. Further south, way down this way. Where am I at? I've lost the exact spot, but somewhere in around this area down here, it was actually up here, is where Zonthar's tower is, and that is where the blue dragon mask is rumored to be. Iskander sent a message saying, "Help, please. I don't want to be here anymore."
Alright, so we're in the area of the green.
Yes.
So let's
Green
focus
up
on
here.
that.
Yeah, I was just saying that we have enough to cover everyone for a fight without making all
Okay.
of our potions. We can worry about the other potions later.
Yeah, when we head down that way, that's fine.
So I should have done this the easier way. Copy pasted. Come back here, copy paste.
So how about those like water breathing, water walking spells, just in case?
I was just gonna say, preparations that you would like to
that.
make.
Water breathing, water walk. I will cast Death Ward on myself.
These
Dawn's got water breathing. Water walk.
Commune with nature.
And what
are
would you
not
like to
spells
know?
I have.
Location of the dragon, if at all possible. Entrance to, or like, keeping in mind that it only goes through like 300 feet of underground material, or of underground paths. And let me think about the other two.
Sure.
I'd rather have these and not need them than need them and not have them. Because I'm assuming, yeah, these are, my previous ones are gone. That's giant elk.
Does he also get water walk?
Dawn can cast water breathing. I don't have the water one. I just
Let me look.
Water breathing can go up to 10 willing creatures.
Valandra had water walk as a ritual.
Yeah, and Dawn has.
No, I had water breathing as a ritual.
Had the water walk.
Pretty sure that was done.
I had water breathing on my list.
Oh, I do have it.
I have water breathing listed, and I don't have water walk listed.
None of us had the other.
You might have relearned it. Yes,
No, wait. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong character sheet.
You're looking at
I was
me because I
wondering,
keep
Yep.
opening and
I noticed
closing.
I was looking at the wizard. Sorry.
That's what was happening. I was wondering why it was bouncing
Sorry
around.
about that.
Oh, you have this.
Nope. Yep. I have water walk. We're good.
And as I shrink everybody down to not being ginormously sized, preparations are being made. You can see the pool and
Also
the
up to 10
waterfall.
creatures.
You can see the pool and the waterfall off in the distance. As you start to draw nearer, you see signs of massive spiders, enormous webs strung all about the place. And those are the wrong badgers and weasels. We'll get those corrected in a moment. And Mord, how far away from the pool would you say you were when you started casting your commune? It does take a minute if you're casting it, 10, 11 minutes if you're doing
only
it.
as a ritual. I can only cast it as a ritual.
Oh,
so it's
only
like
as a
10
ritual,
plus
so 11
minutes.
minutes.
Yeah, so like we're all ritual casting like in a huddle.
Sure.
Woogity.
I mean,
that
I don't think you would have necessarily thought too much about it. So maybe 5-10 feet away.
Okay, so he's like sitting down on the bank, starting to cast it.
Close-ish, yeah.
Okay.
Down one.
Can we see anything down in that water?
It's roiling and bubbling from the waterfall, so you can see like a little bit right near the edge, but anywhere further out than that, it's just waving up and down. You see the occasional flash of a fish going by and some frogs, that sort of stuff. And
So wait, I'm sorry. Why can't we see? Is it like cliffs here? Then we can't see past it. What's going on there?
yes, cliff, rise of the cliff. The waterfall's coming over the top and coming down. So behind you, forest. Looking ahead of you to the south and east, fairly steep rise of cliff, and the waterfall cascading beyond it. You know from
Good
the.
question, Mort.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
What? Yeah.
You know from the kobold that the entrance should be behind the waterfall.
Can I discern anything about that with my special eyes? If I were to say, like, come over, like here,
I'm
can I see anything back there?
I'm sure you probably could. Hang on a moment. Double check for me your special eyes, because I seem to remember we figured out that it takes concentration, and you've only got
I can do it once a day.
Once a day. Okay. So let me know if and when you do engage those, but let me get caught up on the stuff.
I'll click the thing.
Not once a day, once a rest.
Oh yeah,
So
once a rest.
short rest recharges it.
Got it. And for no reason, everybody would
For no reason
also
whatsoever.
For no
Just-
reason at all.
just go ahead and roll themselves onto initiative there.
Okay, well, I want my giant elk next to me when I do this.
Yeah, Giant Elk is on the way here.
Something about
Hey, I always have
like
to do
30-foot elk.
like
makes me
don't
feel
want to go
better.
first.
Dang it. Okay.
Giant
That's
Elk.
a really good
Oh
initiative.
wow!
Giant Badger. What was that other one?
Giant rat.
Wow, Waverly, that's almost impressive.
Jeez.
I haven't done a
That
Giant
might
Rat yet.
be the
I
lowest.
told you I was eager to
That's-
blast them.
roll.
Did I trade Waverly my initiative for hers?
I know
That's
that's
fine.
usually how Dawn rolls his initiatives.
Waverly wasn't paying
If-
attention right now. That's all.
If you ask Kasey nicely, she could substitute that 3 for her portent for your initiative.
I mean, you could. That is a
There are
valid.
probably
I
better
think,
uses
I think
for
we
it,
should really
but-
save that somewhere
As a-
else.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't want to go first.
I don't think. Yeah.
I agree. It was just an amusing enough thought to voice.
So, we got a lot of stuff going on right now. Yeah.
What's up with this foliage here? Is it like high brush or something?
It's
What is all this stuff?
It's a lot of underbrush. This is still part of the misty forest, so there's a lot of moisture in the air. This close to the water, it's actually mostly ferns. So, 10 to 20 feet back, you're in trees. Right here near the entrance, it's mostly ferns, water plants, that sort of thing.
How dense
Bushes.
are the ferns? How tall are they?
4 to 5 feet tall. They're not particularly dense, so they would provide concealment, but not cover. You can push through them pretty easily. Some of them have thorns and stickers on them, but nothing terrible. So, if you all would arrange yourselves as you might be, as Mord settles down to do his communing and Meridia starts to move forward to kick on Specialize.
Dusk is not on the turn order.
Oh. I missed Dusk.
I think she rolled.
Yeah, I don't think she rolled.
Dusk, if you can hear us, if you're feeling okay and you're by the machine, go ahead and hit yourself up with a roll. I'll put you on the turn order here just in case. You're not feeling great. Oh, there we go. Sort there.
That's a food poisoning roll right there.
Yeah.
Especially for Dusk. Dusk
That's
and Waverly both were way down there. So,
Question: the scale on the map, not 5 foot steps.
the scale on the map is
These are all 10-foot steps. Is that
good
supposed
to
be
know.
this way?
that is incorrect map. Why did you do that? One moment.
Aren't we glad I said something?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. I just had a moment of wondering, like, what would I do about that if that was accurate? Because I can move 25 feet in a in a move, in a
I'm
turn.
just gonna pull you back, pull you over, and hopefully they should now be 5 foots.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Yay. Okay. Yes. No. That was a roll 20 because that square equals 15 feet.
I love Meridia with her menagerie down there.
There's
Right.
a bit of a menagerie going on.
There's also a sentient plant
So,
as well, not pictured.
things begin to happen. Mord begins communing. Meridia begins using her specialize. And the answer to one of the questions, two of the questions, becomes very evident very quickly.
Good.
As a green serpentine head emerges from the water. There's a hiss and a spray towards
the turn order
Meridia.
disappeared.
Turn order.
There we go.
Back over here. There's a hiss and a spray as Cuff, the great green dragon, releases poison breath towards Meridia. Cuff.
Hi.
Okay.
That is not what I expected.
Is that
Okie
my
dokie.
punishment for getting a 20?
Good. The Pokemon Master just takes a hit.
As it does so, a 60-foot cone
Oh my god.
Oh, good.
So
No!
Oh god.
No!
a 60-foot
Pokemon!
cone.
Pokemon, nothing. You.
Each creature in that area, please make a DC 18 Constitution saving throw.
Do we
God.
we did the potions and shite for this spell before we got here, right? We were talking about that.
Did
We were
you?
talking about that. Did we do that?
I don't think that. Well, I mean, we were making the anti-poison
but I don't know that anyone said anything about, oh hey, we're here, let's drink potions, guys.
I don't believe you did.
We are silly adventurers.
But we would have distributed it, correct? I mean, that's
everybody has them. Everybody has them in hand. They are distributed. But
Hang on, I got a lot of buttons to click.
yes, please. Meridia and the menagerie. Oh, poor elk.
Meridia.
I mean,
Oh, poor badger.
Meridia and the elk are the only ones who need to roll. The rest don't have enough hit points.
Yeah,
to
that's true.
even come close.
The rat and unfortunately
They're
the
just
pixie.
gone.
No.
Please take
oh my God.
67 or 33.
Wow.
Yeah, your menagerie is gone.
No, my Pokemon. Ow, that hurts a lot.
Why is this on?
Okay.
I just unplugged it.
Suddenly, I regret being anxious about wanting to blast things.
Mistakes for
Did that
me.
water walking spell ever get cast?
Water
Yeah,
walking
we're
spell
doing that.
was cast, yes, I believe.
Water
Yeah, we
walking
cast it at the same
and-
time as you did the command. So
And water breathing.
Okay, so as all that's happening, the dragon then disappears into the spray.
Rude. Get back here.
Exactly. I agree.
Glad somebody does.
All right, so Telaise,
Yeah.
what would you like to do? And we will probably
I would like to
we're probably going to get through about a round before we
Pick
pause.
up a potion of poison resistance?
Okay.
Is that what I'm
Yeah.
doing?
you either have a potion or a goblet that give you poison resistance.
Whatever. I'm getting poison resistance. That's what I'm doing.
Fair deal.
It's gonna be my action.
Yeah.
All right, you chug a potion. Any movement?
Oh.
All right.
Spread out.
I love you dearly, Meridia, but I ain't coming over there right now.
Meridia, unfortunately, the mousy and the pixie both suffered terribly.
Not my rat.
Yep, you're rat. Rat and pixie. They both took.
Great.
Pixie's
Fantastic.
a familiar. Yeah, she would have just been in the
Yeah,
mix.
it's gone.
Yeah. Telaise, Meridia, having taken a chunk of damage. 67 damage. Woof. What are you doing?
Drink
Valandra,
that potion and get
how
closer to the healer.
Right. How far does your healing happen?
Yeah, the good stuff I need to be right up next to
Go
you.
straight across the water. You don't have to go around
just,
it.
Just
Yeah.
go straight.
Can I?
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
we
Or walk.
You got water.
I don't want to be in the water.
Well,
well,
on top.
you'll be walking on it.
Yeah, I know that, but it makes me anxious.
That's fair. That is fair.
100% valid there.
I can't get very close if I'm not.
Ash and not drink a potion. That's up to you.
Okay, fine, but save me, please. How does my healing potion work?
So are you
What do I
taking a
roll?
healing potion or are you drinking the potion of poison resistance?
I don't have one of those.
Everybody has one of those.
Everybody has.
Oh,
one.
I do?
Yep.
Oh, well, that, absolutely,
Okay.
doing that.
All right. So poison resistance on Telaise and Meridia. Mord, what are you up to? If you stop your casting, you'll have to restart.
That's fine. It's a ritual spell.
Mhm.
Yeah. So Mord's gonna get. He's gonna get angry. And he's going to run out to where he saw the dragon appear. And he is going to ready his weapons. So let me just measure that out, and I will move over there. And that will be my turn.
How deep is it below me? Like real shallow, right? I hope.
Oh yeah, it's super shallow where you are now.
Okay.
I mean, you've got a toe
Really
on the
doesn't
bank.
matter.
Yeah, you've got a toe on the
like-
bank at this point.
Doesn't matter how deep it was. If anything tried to pull you down, you just wouldn't go.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Hey, Kasey, where
Mhm.
did the dragon appear?
So the dragon basically popped its head directly out of the waterfall, so the water was cascading off either side, and then blasted the poison spray, and then pulled back in through the waterfall. So it's pretty obvious at this point there is a cave behind the waterfall, and it just out and in.
Yeah. No, I got it. Okay. So Mord will move up in front of the waterfall with his weapon and shield.
You're poison resistant.
I am a
He-
dwarf, so
raging.
yeah.
Great, fantastic.
And also
You're already
raging.
okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dawn.
Is going to take that potion.
Okay.
I am. Let me just double check. Yeah, I'm going to chill here, and well, I can't hold an action, but yeah, he's gonna take a potion, stay here, keep an eye on this area in case Dragonhead appears. We'll be blasting it at next opportunity.
Sure.
Kasey, quick clarification.
Yep.
I'm in the waterfall right now, right?
Water is pouring down around you, yes.
You
Okay,
can breathe just
so-
fine.
Like, breathing is fine. I'm not... But visibility might be a bit low.
Yeah, I mean, you can see ahead of you a bit that there's an opening and there's nothing gigantic and dragon right there.
Right.
But yes, you're getting water in your face actively.
Yeah, that's fine.
Valandra.
Right. We'll run up Meridia. I will cast Life Transference. I will. Damn. Okay. I will take 6 points of damage. Meridia will heal. Sorry, just a moment.
6, 7, 11, 22. Is that the way it works?
It's 22, 27.
Oh, that plus the 5, right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
27. Sorry, that was a bad roll.
Well, I feel a lot
then
more
I'll-
comfortable at 41. Let me tell you.
Fair. And then I'll move the rest of my movement just towards waterfall.
Got it. Ruqiyo.
Potion.
Potion.
Potion first.
Hmm?
And then, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30. Let's be to about there-ish. Just slightly more spread out than we were. I think that's all I can do.
Sounds good. Dusk.
You there, Katie?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, feel better.
Yeah, it's okay. I will also take the potion.
Okay.
It seems like a good idea to take the potion.
Resistance granted, and then any movement.
I am 60 feet of range. That is something I am very concerned about. Although if it's not, one could tell that it wasn't like super nearby right now.
It's
right?
not right there. Yes. So you guys
Okay.
should be able to see it's not right there.
Okay. I'm going to amble my way over. Apparently, I can move 50 feet in a turn now, which is insane.
Wow.
Apparently,
Monk.
the combination of being a tabaxi monk is just
You just
wild.
get a little silly.
It's amazing.
Well, I mean, if you
so
wanted to double, you could move 100 feet, but
I could. That's even more wild.
So you have your Neum.
Yeah, I do, but I don't need it right now, so I'm just
So
gonna
much movement that you have, it's ridiculous.
I'm gonna amble over here just so I'm closer.
But
And walk across the water.
Wait, can I?
Yep.
Is that a part
We
of
all
it?
have water walk.
Water walk has been granted.
Cool. Then I'm just gonna Dust is gonna be having a field day because this is like the coolest thing ever. Please note that she is even though I have no energy right now, please note that Dusk is hopping and dancing over the water, having just
I mean,
a grand time.
keep in mind,
The dragon.
you
Yeah,
still
but
have
walking
those boots that Valandra gave you, so you can fly.
But I'd save the flying for when it's important, though,
Yeah.
because they're limited.
Dusk is just yucking it up, dancing across the waves. So Waverly.
Oh, okay.
So Waverly, as everyone reaches for their potions of poisons, begin knocking them back. Valandra tends to Meridia, and you're probably like, okay, that seems like a solid idea. You're kind of giving that last look around. Maybe that's what you were doing that had you so preoccupied. You spot something.
Oh.
You spot a shadow on the water, and you look down at the shadow, and you're like, the dragon. It's up there. No, it went in there. There's another dragon shadow far above.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Small for dragon, and very darkly colored against the sky.
Oh boy.
The way it would be.
But
If there are more-
way up there. Waverly, what are you doing?
Okay. First off, I am going to yell to everybody. Second dragon up above us. Look alive! And at that point, I am going to dash across the water here and camp out at... I guess this is the cliff, right?
That
I'm
is
at
the
base of
cliff. Yep.
Okay, base of the cliff. And I would like to ready an action.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment that green dragon lifts its head up out of the water,
Mm-hmm.
I arrow to the eye.
Fair. And that...
In the water, though.
It is not in the water, so you believe
Is it not
it's behind the waterfall.
No, it's back here.
Yeah,
Oh,
back
it's behind
the waterfall.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry, I misunderstood.
Yep.
Do you want to drink your potion? Get the poison resistance out of the way?
Yes, I'll do that.
Okay. So, that's where we'll wrap for this evening. Cuth, the green dragon, has been seen, and the entrance to its lair. Mord is standing, peering through the waterfall as it pounds down around him. He knows it's not directly in front of him, but he can see the cave extends for some way, and in the distance he can hear the powerful wing beats of the dragon. It does not seem to have been holding still, just waiting for you. The others have acquired their poison resistance mostly, but far above, another dragon's outline in the sky. Perhaps it was a 1 on a d20 that was rolled at some point. Who knows? And that's what we'll pick up in 2 weeks. I will keep the turn order together. Please be sure to take a glance at your character sheets. I know you've all picked up all kinds of cool tricks, so just remind yourself of what cool tricks you have, because we will be in combat when we resume. I hope everybody's having fun, and I hope you enjoyed your social encounters, and look forward to the conclusions you draw from them as this stage of the adventure starts to wrap up. Cool.
I missed y'all.
Yay!
You!
That went quickly.
Yeah.